So I wanted to share with you today French Polynesia. French Polynesia, a lot of people know Tahiti or call it Tahiti, but there are a number of other islands that belong as part of that group, and that's called French Polynesia. A lot of people have heard of Bora Bora, places like that, and we all know it's extremely exotic. I don't know that everybody knows just how exciting and diverse the diving can be. We've all seen the romantic bungalows and their breathtaking beaches, and that's certainly a part of the allure of French Polynesia. But for divers, this is an extremely exciting destination. Additionally, a lot of people aren't aware that from LAX, we are talking literally an 8-hour non-stop flight. So for something that is literally a world away as far as ocean and civilization, as far as actually reaching it, it's very, very easy. For our friends on the West Coast, it's actually more convenient than getting to some of the places in the Caribbean and Latin America. So anyway, we're sharing that with you today, and this is one of the destinations that is currently open. If you're ready to pack your bags tomorrow, you can get on a plane and be in French Polynesia in a couple of days. So without further ado, I want to share with you Sebastian, the owner of Top Dive, who is an expert on all the different islands and what each one offers for you underwater as well as above. Welcome, Sebastian.
Maruru, like we say in Tahitian. Thank you very much, Cheryl, for your introduction. Thank you to give me the opportunity to talk a little bit about scuba diving in French Polynesia. I would like to firstly apologize for my accent, but I'm sure you will understand me more or less. So yes, I will talk about scuba diving in French Polynesia. Does my screen is up? Up? Yes. Sorry. There we go. So Top Dive is located in French Polynesia. So we have 10 dive centers in Tahiti, Moorea, Bora Bora, Rangiroa, Whakarewa, and Tetiaroa, and a partnership in Tikeo and Raiatea. So we have 3 main standards at Top Dive: is safety, comfort, and services of our divers. For example, we have Nitrox free of charge in all our dive center. Of course, we have all the oxygen and all the medical equipment on board. We always have a dive master and a captain on board. We do free pickup. All the equipment is included, brand new equipment. So it's comfortable boat. All the equipment is already set on board. So it's 5-star services. Just to give you an idea, we do an average of 50,000 dive per year. So it's a lot for the dive industry. And we have dive masters from all around the world, from America, from Chile, from Japan, but of course from French Polynesia. So the main interest in French Polynesia, it's a big fish. It's a big fish destination. We are very lucky in French Polynesia because we have a lot of different kinds of sharks, like tiger sharks, lemon sharks, black tip sharks, 3 kinds of white tip shark, like the oceanic white tips, the lagoon white tips, and the reef white tips. We also have a lot of gray shark, hammerhead shark, so a lot of sharks. We are also very lucky because we have humpback whales. We have a humpback whale season, and we are allowed to bring you swim with the humpback whales. We have turtle, we have dolphin, we have manta ray, eagle ray. So we have a huge biodiversity and a huge density of fish in one place in French Polynesia. So we have 1 dive center in Tahiti, based at the Intercontinental in Tahiti, but we are doing free pickup a little bit everywhere around our dive center. In Moorea, we have 2 dive centers, one at the Hilton and one at the Intercontinental Moorea. And we are doing free pickup everywhere on Moorea. And Bora Bora, we have 2 dive centers. I used to have 2 dive centers. One is closed now because it's too quiet. We still have 1 dive center at the Talasso. And we are doing free pickup everywhere, even on the cruise ship or on a little sailboat. In Rangiroa, which is an atoll, we have 2 dive centers, one inside the Kiaora and one on the main island. In Whakarewa, which is in the Tuamotu archipelago, we also have 2 dive centers, one in the north and one in the south of Fakarava. In Tikeo, we have a partnership with Tikeo Plongée, and we are based at the Tikeo Pearl Beach Hotel. So our goal pass, when a diver wants to come in French Polynesia, there is so much things to do that we have created a pass, which we call the Pass Gold, and you can have 10 dive, 20 dive, 30 dive, 50 dive, as much dive as you need to discover all the beauties of French Polynesia. So if you organize a dive trip in French Polynesia, I recommend you to start in the Society Islands, in Tahiti, Moorea, Bora Bora. Like this, you will start to dive with a lot of shark, and you will have a little bit of drift dive. And to finish your trip in French Polynesia in the Tuamotu archipelago, because it's where the dives are the most beautiful, maybe in the top 10 in the world. And you have a lot of sharks, and it's often the incoming current dive, so there is a lot of drift dive. So it's you will start with a beautiful dive with manta ray and sharks, and you will finish with everything: dolphin, wall of grey shark, Napoleon, barracudas, everything in the Tuamotu archipelago. So of course we are doing introductory dive, but because you are all diver, I will pass quickly on it. It's a easy dive in the lagoon, 6 meter deep maximum. With an instructor, there is no big shark around. It's for beginner or non-diver. We do all kind of certification, SSI, PASS, and also French certification. One good thing with top dive is that you can split the certification between the island. You can start in Tahiti, for example, continue in Bora Bora, and finish it in Garuae. So it's easy. We are doing free Nitrox, as I previously said, sorry. So as you may know, Nitrox is a gas mix that reduces the risk of accident, and you have less chance of accidents. So at top dive, it's free of charge. It's included. So thanks to French Polynesia to be the largest shark sanctuary in the world since 2012, we have created with SSI and PASS a shark specialty. And so divers who want to have this specialty will dive with a lot of different kind of sharks, and they will learn about the shark behavior, what to do, what to not do with the shark, what is a legend about the shark in French Polynesia also. And we'll have at the end a certification card with a shark diver as shark diver specialist. We do a lot of private dives, so we can do a private boat, a private instructor. We can do private whale watching tour, private snorkeling tour. So if you want more intimacy, more privacy, we can offer a lot of different kind of service. We do snorkeling tour every day in Tahiti, Rangiroa, Fakarava with the guide, and in Moorea, Bora Bora, it's under the supervision of the captain. We want GoPro. So in Tahiti, as I said, we are very lucky because we have humpback whales from end of July to end of October. Top dive is authorized by the local government to bring you a swim with humpback whales. It's a 3-hour tour at least, and it's magical. It's my favorite moment of the year. I bring my kids swim with the whales, and sometimes there is dolphin around or pilot whales. So, but the big star is a humpback whale. And it's a magical moment that I would love that everybody live once in your life. We are very lucky in Tahiti also because we have a lot of tiger shark at a dive site called the White Valley. It's a dive site located at 10 minutes by boat, and we have a lot of lemon sharks, gray sharks, black tip sharks, nurse sharks, and sometimes tiger sharks. And so, for example, in the morning you can swim with the humpback whales, and in the afternoon you can dive with the tiger shark. So it's maybe the only place in the world where you can do that. We do night dive in Bora Bora, Tahiti, and Moorea on request. Because French Polynesia, it's a honeymooner destination, we have created this cute romantic services. It's a private services, actually. There is a private guide and a private cameraman. And there is a kind of wedding ceremony under the water, but it's also a great product to renew the view. So, but it's very famous in Bora Bora. In Morea and Bora Bora, we do 2 tank dive in the morning. And in the other dive center, we are doing 1 tank, but because the dive sites are located very close to the dive center. In Bora Bora, we have a lot of manta ray. There is a manta ray cleaning station right here in the lagoon in front of the dive center. And so you just come on the dive site and you enjoy the ballet of the manta ray. It's a magical moment also. And easy dive, very easy dive. We also have in Bora Bora a lot of lemon shark and a lot of eagle rays. In TKO, we also have the a manta ray cleaning station in the lagoon, so it's easy to observe manta ray. And in the pass of TKO, we have a lot of tiger and great hammerhead sharks, and of course a lot of other kind of shark. But we are very happy when we can observe hammerhead sharks and tiger sharks. Rangiroa. So Rangiroa is very famous in the world because there is a lot of, in one place, in one dive, you can have the chance to observe tiger, hammerhead shark, gray sharks, silky sharks, dolphin, Napoleon wrasse, barracudas, turtle, manta ray, and so on, just in one dive or 2 dives. So it's paradise for diver. And there is very good accommodation in Rangiroa too, like the Kia Ora or the Maytain or other pension. And in the Avatoru PASS, which is the second pass in Rangiroa, we have a lot of silver tip sharks, which we call in French Polynesian tapete or like a reef white tip. In Fakarava, which is my favorite island, you will have a huge biodiversity and a huge density of fish and sharks and everything, in fact. Fakarava, it's under protection of UNESCO. It's a UNESCO reserve and heritage. And so the coral is pristine, everything is untouched. It's just amazing. It's maybe you heard about Into the Shark Pack. It's a French movie documentary made last year by Laurent Balesta, where there is 700 gray shark hunting in the night. It's where the movie has been filmed. So it's paradise on earth. And the sharks are not aggressive at all, not at all. So Fakarava, it's very famous for its biodiversity and a huge density of fish. So I have a quick video to show you. I hope the network will be good enough. This is a video of Rangiroa, our dive center in Rangiroa. So we have solar panel on the rooftop. We have eco-friendly installation. We are doing the briefing at the dive center. It's more comfortable. During the briefing, your team member take care of your equipment. Like this, you just have to walk on the pontoon, jump on the boat, and enjoy the dive. So this is Rangiroa. So this video has been made by a friend of mine who spent only 5 days in Rangiroa. So they have 2 or 3 days of diving, and they have dolphin, manta ray, turtle, shark, Napoleon wrasse. And as you can see, all the fish come very close to the diver. The fish are not afraid by human. There is a very good interaction between human and animals in French Polynesia. This is not our best of. This is what you can see every day in Rangiroa. Just to give you an idea. And of course, the big star of Rangiroa is the dolphin. Every day, the dolphin come to greet the divers. Sometimes the dolphin come to push you in the back because you don't pet them. So it's one of the only places in the world that I know where there is this kind of interaction between human and dolphin. And I have some pictures that a friend of mine have made. Oops, sorry. There we go. So just to give you an idea, there is black tip shark, dolphin, humpback whale, corals, silver tip, and humpback whales. So it's just to give you a taste of what you can observe in the lagoon or in the ocean in French Polynesia. This is our dive center in Fakarava. And everything comes very close to you. They are not afraid by humans. There is a magical place for diver. There we go. So I'm done with my presentation, Cheryl. Gary. Thank you, everyone. I hope my accent was not too strong to understand, too hard to understand.
Oh, I offered to translate, but it wasn't needed. That was way too fast a presentation, Sebastian. We needed more pictures and more video. I'm only just getting warmed up.
I have more if you want. I was just wondering if the quality of the video was good enough with the network, with the connection. So I hope it was not too choppy. No, it was okay?
Yeah, it was. It was a little bit choppy, but it wasn't anything terrible.
Okay.
It was coming through great.
Okay.
So, I mean, we definitely got a good flavor of what is awaiting in French Polynesia. We already have a couple of hands up. We're definitely going to go to Q&A. For anyone that's a guest here that has not before, if you want to put your hand up in the chat box, or if you want to type something in the Q&A, what we like to do is put you on live with Sebastian to ask your questions. However, if you're shy or you don't have a working mic, then we'll ask the question for you. So I have David K. Your hand was up first. If you want to go ahead, you're on with Sebastian.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. If you're able to get a little bit closer, it's.
Right. So I had research going there last year, and I'm kind of geared up to go someday. Where I was confused is I was kind of confused whether I wanted to go to Tiki How as well as Rangiroa and Fakarava. I wasn't sure if one or the other would be repetitive.
So my recommendation about Rangiroa, Fakarava, and Tikeo, that depends what kind of accommodation you're looking for, but that Cheryl will be able to answer you. But regarding scuba diving in the Tuamotu Archipelago, because Tikeo, Fakarava, and Rangiroa are located in the Tuamotu Archipelago, for me, about scuba diving, it's Rangiroa, Fakarava, and Tikeo in this order. So in Rangiroa, you will see a lot of dolphins, sharks, and everything, and so on. In Fakarava, you will have a huge biodiversity and a huge density of fish. And in Tikeo, you will have a mix of everything, but you have less chance. But for me, the dive in Tikeo are a little bit less beautiful than in Rangiroa and Fakarava. But this is my point of view. And since few months, we observe a lot of tiger shark and hammerhead shark. So it's start to be better and better in TKO. So my recommendation it will be if you have time to do the 3 island, maybe 5 days or 4 days on each island.
Okay. The other thing is, as
Yes.
far as flying between the islands, do the planes fly so high that you have to have a down day before you fly?
So the law regulation about flight after the dive in French Polynesia, it's you have to wait 24 hours between a dive and international flight, and only 12 hours between a dive and a local flight. So you just have to not dive the day of your flight.
Okay, so going from Tahiti to Fakarava or
It's taking
Fakarava
1
to
hour.
Garuae, those are all 12 hours?
Yes, you will don't dive the day of your flight, and a flight between Tahiti and Fakarava it take approximately 1 hour, and between Rangiroa and Fakarava it's maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes, something like this.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome, David. Thank you.
I know we have other questions, but Sebastian, while we are on that subject, did you want to cover a little bit the differences also between Moorea and Bora Bora as far as diving?
Oh yes, so there is 5 archipelago in French Polynesia. There is the Society Island. It's how can I say? There is a mountain on this island. There is a lot of tropical forest and waterfall and everything. It's beautiful. So in this archipelago, the Society Islands, there is Tahiti, Moorea, Raiatea, Waihine, Taha. So there is other island, and there is beautiful overwater bungalows in the hotel. There is beautiful pension. The Bora Bora, everybody knows Bora Bora. The lagoon of Bora Bora is one of the most famous lagoon in the world. But in Moorea, there is a much more beautiful landscape in the mountain. I live in Moorea all year long. It's my one of my favorite places in the world to live. People are very friendly and welcome you like if you are from their family. It's magical place. And the Tuamotu archipelago, it's only a flat island with only coconut tree, a white sand beach, and the lagoon is inside the island. And the ocean is outside the island. So it's for vacation and especially for diver. But except scuba diving or fishing or snorkeling, there is not much to do in the Tuamotu archipelago or relaxing. But in the Society Island, like Bora Bora and Moorea, there is a lot of things to do for non-diver, like hiking, ATV tour, 4x4 tour, or visiting many places.
Okay, thank you for that. Christy,
My
I don't
pleasure.
know if you wanted to jump in. Christy, on our staff, she is our Tahiti tourism specialist. She's here with us this evening. We all try and have how we do it in Deep Blue is we all have our own destinations that we've personally been to that we can recommend. Christy, if you're able to unmute your mic, you're welcome to jump in. Obviously, Sebastian is living out there, living the dream and able to share everything, but I know you have your own opinions too, Christy, if you wanted to jump in while we're on that particular subject of the different islands, if there's anything you wanted to add.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Sebastian.
Hi, Christy.
I will tell you, it's one of my favorite destinations. Lots of sharks. Getting around the islands are very easy. The only kind of drawback is that the schedules for the domestic hopper flights aren't always, they don't always match up. So to do, say, Rangiroa, Fakarava, and possibly Tiki Hau, you may have to spend 5 nights at one resort, possibly 3 nights at another, and 4 nights just to get that scheduling arranged correctly. But Top Dive, the nice thing is you don't have to fill paperwork out a second time once you've been diving there and they have all of your work, all of your waiver and release forms. You can go to the next one. They'll have your weights ready. They offer your dive equipment is all included. They have brand new aqua lung equipment. Some of the dive sites where you go, you'll have it gets cooler water temperatures, so you'll maybe need a 5 mil wetsuit. But it's typically anywhere from 75 to 85, 89 degrees, correct, Sebastian? At different
Yes, correct. Yes, it's correct, Christy. Depending of the period of the year, the time of the year, the water temperature is about between 29 to 25 Celsius degrees. So I don't remember how much it is in Fahrenheit, but
I think we're
but
close.
yes, but you may need a 5 millimeters in our winter, which is July to October.
But the nice thing is they have the equipment, and again,
Yes.
everybody there is going to have to dive Nitrox. So if you're not Nitrox certified, it's definitely something to get prior to going. Otherwise, they can do a Nitrox course for you while you're there. They're all 100 aluminum, right? Aluminum tanks.
Yes, we have aluminum tanks, 12 liters or 15 liters.
Right. So they're all the dive boats are very accommodating. You know, the only thing I will tell you, most of the dive sites can be advanced diving there because you deal with a lot of currents and you deal with the passes. So when you're diving in these areas, you really have to pay attention to the dive presentation and the instructors as to what you're going to experience, because the passes are somewhat like, if anybody has ever been to Galapagos or some of the more strenuous, where you get lots of heavy currents, some of the sites going through the passes can be a little bit challenging. But once you're past those areas where the currents can be stronger, it's beautiful, easy drift diving.
Great, thanks.
And the only other thing is the accommodations. It's not one of you. It's not like you have 5-star, you know, big huge resorts. Most of these resorts are smaller, intimate, you know, between maybe 20 and 60, I think, total room accommodations. Some of the smaller islands in Fakarava only have, I think, a total of 30 total rooms. So those are limited as well.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Christy.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy.
Corey and Christopher White, you've both been very patient, so I appreciate that. Corey, you've had your hand up for a while. Go ahead, you're on live.
All right, I got a lot of questions, so what I'm going to do is try to ask 2 or 3, and if you have time, Cheryl, you can circle back to me at the end, okay?
Sounds good, thanks.
All right, so okay, tell me what's the best time. I'm asking 2 questions right up front. The best, what are the different times of the year? What is the weather like at different times of the year? And the second part of this question is, when is the best time to go whale watching?
Okay, this is a question for me. So there is 2 main season in French Polynesia. There is a rainy season, which is a humid season, in fact, because it's not rainy every day. It's between December to February. Sometimes that change. It's a humid season, and the rest of the year it's a dry season. So it's often sunny. Sometimes there is a quick rain, a little shower, but most of the year it's a dry season with sunny season with not too much windy season. So we have a long windows for traveling in French Polynesia. Regarding the humpback whale season, the humpback whales start to come in French Polynesia to have their calf, the baby, in end of July. But my favorite moment to swim with the humpback whale is September to October, because the baby whale, the calf, is born since 1 month, and he start to be curious and he start to want interaction with the swimmer, and the mother, the whale, is less tired, so she feels safe with the diver, so with the snorkeler. So it's the best moment to have good interaction with the humpback whale. And after that apart, there is many different seasons about scuba diving. For example, there is great hammerhead shark season in Garuae from December to April. It's a moment of the year when we have great hammerhead shark every day, each dive. We have the groupers breeding in Fakarava in end of July. In beginning of July, sorry, my mistake. We have many different seasons, but all year long we have dolphin, sharks, turtle, Napoleon wrasse, manta ray. So, but all year long we have all this diversity. But sometimes, depending on when you come, we have different things to observe.
All right. So what I'm hearing is, based on what you just told me, the rainy season is December to February, and the whale season is July to October, right?
Yes.
All right, so that kind of seals it for me. The best time would be July to October to avoid the rainy season and to also take advantage of the whale watching.
Yes, yes. If you want to swim with the whales, I recommend you beginning of October.
Beginning of October.
Yes, between the two first week of October.
Okay, so that's swimming with and also whale watching for non divers.
Yes, so we don't dive with whales. We only snorkel with the whales, depending on their behavior. If they are cruising, we don't come in the water with whales. We are waiting for the whale to sleep or to rest or something like this, and we approach the whale very carefully. We have a special regulation to how approach the whales. So we observe the whales from the boat, and when the behavior is okay, we jump in the water. We enter in the water carefully, and we swim close to the whales.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask two more now, and then I'll wait till the end. So for non-divers, they can do the whale watching with the snorkelers?
Yes, sir.
And would it stay on the boat? Is it a big boat?
Yes, it's a big covered boat, very comfortable. So it's a boat for 20 person, but we only allow it to bring 12 person at once with the whales. So there is only 12 person on the boat with one captain and one guide.
Okay, so my last question for now. Getting from Tahiti to Bora Bora, how long a flight is it and how easy is it to get there?
So there is many flights every day to Bora Bora, something like 3 flights per day to Bora Bora, sometimes more during the high season. And it's a flight from maybe 35 minutes, something like this, 1 hour maximum.
Okay.
To go to Tahiti to Bora Bora, it's a 45 minute flight.
All right. Cheryl, I'll give way now, but please come back to me because I got a few more.
Will do. Thanks for that, Corey. Christopher White, you've been so patient, and I know you have a few questions as well. Chris, you're on.
And Corey, you were on a roll. You didn't have to stop. Okay, that was polite, but it's okay. I'm looking at the prices, and I see like gold 12, gold 20, gold 10. And it's like the gold 20 is, I've already done the conversion rate. Is that just for the dives, or is that for the dives and the hotel room? For pricing.
Sebastian, did you want to answer that? Has he frozen? Sebastian, I don't know if you can hear us. It looks like you may have frozen.
Wave your hand, Sebastian.
Okay, Carrie, if you can try and get him back on. I'm going to turn my video off. I don't know that that's going to help anything, but
hey, Chris.
Yes.
Just to let you know, the diving in Tahiti is is a bit more expensive than one we're used to, say here in the Caribbean or South Pacific. Approximately, because I just booked a couple for I don't know, 2 weeks. Diving, the 10 dive pass runs approximately 900 US
Right.
for 5 days of 2 tank boat dives.
Now that's just the diving, not
Correct.
a room or food.
Correct. And the thing is that you're diving, and then they include Nitrox. Again, it's your boat dives. They do also include equipment rental if needed at no additional charge, as well as, like I said, your Nitrox fills.
Okay. So like the 20 dives, the Gold Pass 20, that's, I think it was $1,600 and
Correct.
change.
Correct.
Then I still need to figure out food and air flights is the thing, and then transportation between island to island.
So pretty much so when we do the packages for Tahiti, I can put together the entire thing for whether you need international flights as well as the domestic flights, arrival and departure, meet and greet transfers with delays and the shells. So when I put that whole thing together, it's from the time, say you either depart the States or there's direct flights from San Francisco or LAX to arrive into Papeete. So say you leave on a Friday, you arrive in Papeete on a Saturday morning by 5 a.m. if you do a red eye.
Right.
So those arrangements we can make are depending on what you want to do as far as different islands or one specific island, or mix it up. Stay a night at Papeete, which you get kind of the city and feel for, the locals. All of that to give you an idea for, say, a week-long trip. You're looking with with domestic flights and diving included, right around 3,000 to 3,500, depending on the hotels. I mean, that's not an overwater bungalow, but at different times of the year, different resorts, they'll offer stay 4 nights, pay 3 nights, so you'll get 1 night free. It just, their rates typically range from, say, I think October, November timeframe to, I think it's March or April. So they don't give you rates far out in advance for, say, like their high season, which would be May, June through November, until about January timeframe. So right now I have rates through April of 2021 that are valid. So if you kind of give me an idea of what you're looking at, I can put a proposed itinerary, sample itinerary together for you with everything that's included, what you're looking to do, the amount of diving, and then you could say, no, that's not what I want. I'd like this. And I can send you the links for the different properties I suggest, and with the domestic flights included.
Okay. But if we do it like the 11 dive centers, 6 islands, 20 dives, is that a week or 2 weeks long?
Basically,
being realistic.
It's valid for however long. So if you say you're going to stay in Tahiti 2 weeks, that 20 dive package is valid for those 2 weeks. Moving along to, say you want to do Tiki Hau. Hello?
We're still here.
Say you want to do Tiki Hau, you want to do Fakarava, and you want to do Moorea or Rangiroa. You can split that dives package for the 20 dives between whatever island you're going to go to over those 2 weeks.
Okay. Because when I go on a dive vacation, all I want to do is be in the water.
So the only thing, and I wanted to make sure, I don't know if Sebastian is still there, but Tahiti had a new law that they imposed last year or the summer prior, I can't remember, where they're only allowing up to 2 dives a day. Due to regulations, due to some of the regulations, because the diving can be a little bit more strenuous, like I said, than other destinations. So they did limit the amount of dives per day. And I heard Sebastian say in like Bora Bora, and I think he said Tiki Hau possibly they were doing night dives, but I don't know if that's still valid. So I just wanted to ask him, and I don't know if he's still on if we can.
He's not.
Having some technical difficulties. I got an email from him. He's trying to get back in, but he is not currently right here. So we may have to email him and ask that question and get that clarification later for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, he's showing in the waiting room, Carrie, and I hit to let him back in, but it just keeps sitting there showing it's joining. So I think he's got connected.
I put him back in the waiting room. His connection never let him out. So we're working on it on the side. I'm trying to get back.
All right, I know you're working hard, Carrie. In the meantime, right now, all I'm looking at is a Zoom screen. I don't know if you have some of those lovely pictures that he sent you before that we could maybe throw up, and if everybody else is looking at what I'm looking at, we're
Yeah,
looking
no,
at it.
give me 1 second.
I know you're trying to get him on, so that's a priority, but
Okay,
if we're waiting for his end, let's try and get something pretty up if you don't mind. I'm just going to go ahead because I think we've got a lot of questions about the pass, and I think it's I was expecting Sebastian to share a little bit with that as part of his presentation. Basically, just like anywhere else, you can buy 2 tanks, 4 tanks, whatever. However, if you get to the point of buying 10 tanks or more, it's just like any other dive package in a lot of places. You get a discounted rate for buying in bulk. Where it's a little bit different and they call it a pass is because you're not buying 2 tanks in Fakarava and 2 tanks in Rangiroa. You're buying 10 tanks that can be spread. They can all be used in one island, but if you are going to island hop, which if you have the time, I would say Christy recommends that you do, just because there is diversity, thanks for that, Carrie, in the different areas. We recommend that you bounce between at least 2 islands or more if you're going to French Polynesia just once and you want to get a taste of those different experiences. So you buy those 10 tanks, but you're able to use them across 11 different dive centers, up to 11 different dive centers, up to 6 different islands, and still take advantage of that discounted rate per tank.
Okay.
Top Dive has a gold pass that they sell in 10s or in 20s. The other thing where we've got some questions is because they have on their website, which we get the same pricing, whether it's for over 1 person or over 2 people. So what happens is, if imagine you can buy a gold pass for 10 or a gold pass for 20 tanks, you can use that for 1 single diver, or you can use that split between a couple of different divers. On their website, they tend to share that price. So if you've got 2 divers doing 10 tanks each, it makes sense to buy the gold pass, split those savings between 2 people, and you get a discounted rate. Sorry, go ahead.
The only other thing is sometimes, you know how maybe one diver or a husband and wife are diving and the wife doesn't want to dive anymore, or the husband doesn't want to dive anymore. Instead of wasting, say 10 dives, if that one diver wants to do additional dives, they can take what's left of the package or do additional dives if the other diver traveling doesn't want to do all 10 or however many dives they book.
Gotcha. So they can split that, doesn't necessarily have to be evenly.
Correct.
Okay, great, thanks. Yeah, so I mean, basically that's where it's throwing some of their confusion. Personally, and Christy is normally the specialist you would speak to as far as French Polynesia. She's been there and the various islands, and I have not, unfortunately. It's on the list, but I haven't made it yet. The one thing is what I personally do, because I'm the one preparing the packages for the website, I start out with it being shared with just 1 person. So I do the single person price, assuming that possibly you're going as a single person or you're going to not share that package. And then when we quote you on a personal basis, if 2 of you are divers, that's when we introduce to you the possibility of sharing the pass and taking some extra savings. But just so nobody gets any nasty surprises, I always like to sort of do honest upfront pricing, do it as if that pass is being only taken advantage of by 1 person. And then, as I said, once we do a personalized quote, if we can apply the savings by taking that pass and it makes sense to divide it over 2 of you, then you're going to get a further discount applied in that quote. I hope that makes sense a little bit.
Yes.
And I appreciate it, Chris, for hanging in there. You weren't the only one that was asking that question. We've had a couple of people go on Top Dive's website during the presentation and asking similar questions. So I wanted to jump in and sort of share a little bit more about that pass. And Christopher, did you have any other questions?
No, I think that's good.
Okay, all right. I know you asked about the water temps and Christy covered that.
That was already answered.
Okay, fantastic. If you have anything else, please let me know. All right, Chris, you're all good? Okay, Chris is muted. So if there's anybody else, Corey, just so you step back real quick. I'm just gonna give the opportunity if anybody else, because we probably will run well, we're not running late, actually, we're doing pretty well. If there's anybody else that wants to raise their hands or pop something in the chat box, please go ahead. Otherwise, Corey, I appreciate you stepping back there a little bit. You're welcome to ask any other questions, and between Chrissy and myself, hopefully we can answer them for you. And if not, we'll take them down and get with Sebastian ASAP by email.
Okay, great. Christy, I want to thank you also. Your input was very helpful, and I guess I'm going to be directing my questions to you right now.
Okay. Thanks, George.
The water temperature, and I don't know if Christy can answer this. I did the calculation. Sebastian said 25 to 29 Celsius, which works out to 77 to 84. Do you know what times of the year those fluctuations will like I'm looking at going in October. So you know what it may be in October?
Yeah, so it's gonna start your change of season around then. You still will probably be in the 80s. It may dip down in the high 70s, but typically December through February is when their rainy season is, when you're gonna get the cooler water temps. But do keep in mind, there are some of the currents or the thermoclines that you can get to depending on the depth. Most of the diving in Tahiti is going to be anywhere from 60 to 90, basically 60 to 90 feet. But some of those deeper depths, you'll have some of your thermoclines where it'll dip down, you know, say if you're at an 80-degree dive and you dip down to say 80, 90 feet, it may dip down to 76 or 77, 78 degrees. So that's when the water temps tend to be cooler, you know, but throughout the year, throughout the rest of the year, say March timeframe through October, you'll have higher 80s. It may go to 79 again in those thermoclines.
Fine. Christy, can you tell me what is there to do for non-divers on these islands?
So there's a lot of relaxation. There's spas. Each of the islands offers something different. So, you know, there's pretty much snorkeling at all of them. Some of the islands have more snorkeling, obviously, than others. But you have, you know, you'll have pools, you'll have spas, they have bikes, they'll do nature, there's birding. You know, there's another, like in Fakarava, they have an area that you can go and see the coconut crabs, which are, it's very cool to watch.
Coconut crabs?
Coconut crabs. They actually go up into the coconut trees and get the coconuts. And when I was there in April, end of April into May. And I don't know if they're year round, but in say Fakarava, they're at one end of the island and I think they're protected. I think the Tahitian, French Polynesians are only allowed to take so many per day or however, there's permits for them. And they supposedly they're very good eating, but anyhow, there's an area that they can go and see that. Like I said, the water is crystal clear there, so snorkeling is a really big thing for a lot of non-divers. They will, some of the islands offer sunset cruises, like in Morea or in Papeete. Some of the non-divers can go out and do a sunset cruise, and they have the dolphins, the porpoise out there. That's a really cool, you know, another thing for non-divers to do. Again, it's a lot of relaxation. Most of the resorts are small, so you'll have a pool, you'll have the beachfront, the waterfront that they can just sit, put their chair right there at the water's edge and relax. Other than that,
Are there any towns or villages to be visited?
So they each have their own small little village where there's churches and there's a lot of history, you know, and you can go to the small little towns to get local fare. A lot of them do pearls. They're in Fakarava, they have a pearl farm. You can actually pick out your own pearls. which French Polynesia is known mostly for their black pearls. So there's like Baccarava offers that. You can do that in Papiete. In Moorea, there's a lot of hiking and jeep tours that you can do. So you can take a whole day and just go and do adventures around the island. Trying to think of what else there is as far as non-divers go.
Well, I probably want to do a 2-island trip to Tahiti and Bora Bora. I don't know, you could twist my arm, but I probably won't do 3 islands. I heard something said about single accommodations, or they don't offer single accommodations. I mean, I have several people in my crew that they only want to go single. So you're saying it's the rate is going to be the same, single rate and double rate is going to be the same?
And just, yeah, we would deduct out the diving.
Uh-huh.
Right. So like I said, the thing with the room, they base the rate on a single or double occupancy, but you don't have an additional rate if you're going to do a single. So say you do a room that's $200, that's the nightly rate. A double would basically split that, whereas a single would pay the full $200 per night, just to give you an example.
Okay, and did I hear you say that the diving is expensive? You're talking $900 for 5 days of 2-tank dives? Did I hear that right?
Yes, correct.
Wow.
It's important to note, Corey, like I just did a couple of, in fact, Carrie, if you just pressed on that, if you want to bring one of those up, in a lot of cases, like how Christy is saying, these are small, intimate hotels. A lot of the time I'm pricing for double occupancy. I'm pricing the hotel price for a week is the same as the diving. So on a double occupancy basis, we're talking about $1,800 or $1,900 per person double occupancy for a hotel and diving, hotel taxes. Depending on the hotel, that typically includes at least breakfast. In some cases, it also includes lunch or possibly lunch and dinner. And also it may or may not include transfers and Nitrox. So, you know, when we piece out the $900 for diving, that is extremely expensive. But when we're talking about an overall package before flights, of course, we're talking about an $1,800 package for the week with at least breakfast. And when we talk about it like that, that's really not that much more than a lot of other destinations, you know, in the Caribbean.
And Corey, as Cheryl was just saying, the thing with French Polynesia, if you go on their off season, which their high season usually runs from June to, say, possibly it could run through October, maybe into November. It just depends. We'd need to check, you know, with the rates, but a lot of times they'll run specials where maybe you'll stay 5 nights and pay a 3-night rate. It just depends on what each, you know, resort would be offering. Typically in French Polynesia, they don't include lunches in their packages, but they include breakfast and possibly, you know, like a 2-course dinner. So you have to consider those rates include meals, transfers, ground transfers, taxes, and again, when we do it, we'll include diving. So it's hard to price them out and say, wow, the diving sounds so expensive, as Cheryl said, but you get more than, you know, than some of the other destinations you go to where you're going to get the diving, your meals, you know what I mean? And it's not a buffet. These are more like sit down, you know, 2- and 3-course dinners.
All right. I could talk for another hour. I don't want to monopolize the rest of the call. Maybe I could talk to you guys offline because I still have like 2 or 3 more questions. Should I call you?
You're welcome to ask. I mean, if we still have what, about 10 minutes? We have a couple of minutes. You're welcome.
I tell you what, Christy, if we can jump in and talk about current entry requirements, because a couple of people had questions about that. And I know some people definitely have to jump off at 8. And then Corey, if people want to hang out, we're quite happy to hang out and continue questions. A lot of your questions, I think, are helpful for a lot of people. They want to know. Otherwise, we're glad to talk to you directly. But if you don't mind, if I could jump in real quick about Corona, because I know some people do strictly jump off right at 8 o'clock.
Sure.
Okay, great. So just to let you know, and I've just put the link in the chat box as well, but Carrie has kind of demonstrated for us how you can find it. If you go on our website and you hit coronavirus or COVID-19 in the top tab, we have some various links there, different helpful links as far as in general with the government, what's going on, ways to stay updated on different destinations around the world. And as hotels and dive centers are sending us their policies, we're continuously updating that with their official coronavirus policies and procedures for that particular resort. One of those links in there includes what we have here on the screen, which is a FAQ of conditions of entry in and out of the islands of Tahiti or French Polynesia, as it's officially known. And the link is also in the chat box. You can copy and paste there. Basically, in a nutshell, French Polynesia has been open for, I think, a couple of months now. Christy probably knows more. However, what they are requiring is they're including requiring a 72-hour before travel PCR test. So you are going to need that before you're able to travel to French Polynesia. I understand that for some people right now that's impossible, but I do know that more and more people that's becoming a reality, to be able to access that test and get those results back within 72 hours or less. Additionally, and we're seeing this in a lot of places as well, they require you to have insurance that covers COVID-19 medical expenses and other medical expenses such as hospitalization. This we're seeing across the globe. For the most part, travel insurance automatically covers this. Your insurance may cover it at home. Bear in mind, there's a lot of countries where people don't carry private insurance, such as in the US. You know, they have national health care and it doesn't cover them, but they want to make sure that you are covered if you were to be hospitalized inside their country. To my knowledge, at least Travel Guard does not exclude coronavirus, as if it's a medical condition that you have been diagnosed with. So basic travel insurance should meet that criteria. The other thing that they're doing is once you get there, and this is why I wanted you to see the FAQ, 4 days later, you're not required any kind of quarantine, but 4 days later, you are required to submit a second test. Now, this test is a self-test. It's handed to you when you arrive and clear customs and immigration in Tahiti. They will hand you an envelope with a test to do a self-test 4 days later. You will just take that test in your room, in the privacy of your room, and then seal it up in the envelope and hand it to the hotels. The hotels that are open have agreed to be part of this process. So you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to interrupt your vacation. You just take the test in your room and you hand it to the front desk. Now, bear in mind, these are current requirements. These could change. Things could clamp down again if there's a lot of surge. However, these could, you know, lighten up as things go on. We're seeing a number of islands that are starting out with something this strict, and then as things go on and their numbers are not surging as they open to tourism, they're getting more relaxed. But we are sending people to French Polynesia right now. There are people on vacation in French Polynesia right now having a fabulous time. And if you wanted to be one of them, then this is what you need to expect based on current requirements. If anybody has any questions kind of further on that, this FAQ is quite comprehensive. Otherwise, again, that's part of what we do every day. We're here to answer those questions personally and help guide you as best we can with the information that we have. Christopher's also asked, oh, you asked, when are these islands open for travel, Christopher? I hope that answered that. To my knowledge, All of the islands are currently open. Christy, do you know if there's any that's still closed, or is all of French Polynesia currently open?
Nope, as far as I know, I mean, I have somebody getting ready to go next month for 2 weeks. So there, as of now, there aren't any islands that I'm aware of for the diving that are closed.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. What I'm going to say, guys, because it is 8:01, we don't have any time limit. We don't put a time constraint on you at all. If anybody wants to hang out and stay, we will stay on and continue to answer any questions that we can. But for any of you that want to drop off now, I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate you joining us this evening. We will be back again next week at 7 p.m. I am sorry for the technical difficulties and that our presenter didn't get to stay on for as long as we would have liked, and that we're kind of recycling pictures. But I appreciate your attendance and hanging in there.